It does enable people to break out of ruts that they've been in. This is what I've always eaten, this is what I've always listened to, this is all my mates always were. People can't get out of those ruts. You take psychedelics, you can. You get far enough out of your current state of existence that you can see, you can experiment with other things, be open to them, and see the error of your ways sometimes and the brilliance of your future. Well, enjoy it and be grateful to it. I think that's a very important part, is to send some actual gratitude and thanks back to whatever it is that has enabled us to have this paradise here.
It only came together in Goa for a lot of that music. It only made sense in Goa, but it was made by people from different cities. When I went there, from around the world, basically, and I went to a few parties, and I was like amazed, and then I became really inspired by it. I realised this really was the future of music in a lot of ways. It was all about the spirit and the feel of the music. It becomes a language through which you can find your own identity. I think Goa was a particularly fertile place for it to begin and nurture it, and for it to gather its strength.
Maybe it was an ankur, it was planted and it was a seed in Goa, and then it's flowered and spread everywhere.
That has been a long, well-trodden route of a long, very old tree, which goes back millennia and involves the very basic elements of humanity, which is dancing under a moon and the stars. I found I could draw correspondences with Brahmin priests and the Druids and Rajasthani fiddle players and the Irish fiddle players, and there were a lot of correspondences in fact. And I think there are in all native cultures. To have them reawakened in yourself and then reinterpreted by yourself and integrated into your contemporary world is the way forward for society. And we have to rediscover those truths of our ancestors in our own way.
And we can do this through the parties and through our dance, and that's why this is a really important thing we're involved in right now. It's not frivolous.
It's not just a disco in the forest, it's an initiation. It's the gathering of the tribe. It's like the 60s all over again.
In the high point of the 60s, 66, 67, a lot of it was quite dance orientated, like the London club UFO.
Where you had films on the walls, liquid slide shows made, with like big watch glass shaped glass dishes and immiscible brightly coloured oils and fluids swirled around in time with the music. People playing records, they'd be called DJ now.
A lot of the original disco pioneers were also very idealistic. They took acid. Actually, disco grew out of psychedelia.
You have a culture and a collective society spirit that allows people to come together and do those things together and communicate it together. Because the location was Goa, which is India, which still had a kind of collective consciousness which made the old ancient gods there alive to the majority of the population. The Shiva and the Hindu gods, and even Buddha and the other religions.
Yeah.
Because the context was there, people were opening up in a very big way.
Getting down with the family and nature, getting down with Mother Earth.
You meet people who are individuals that carve their own niche in their own way, create their own realities. You see people as examples of doing exactly what they want to do, creating their own realities, carving their own niche and creating a better world. Collectively that gets stronger and stronger, and it becomes a message of, you know, sort of love.
Goa. It went commercial, and now it's just gone fetid like an old cheese that's been left too long in a cupboard. The spirit is gone, the blue rinse tourists have come in, the flea markets exploded into Regent Street. I suggest to everybody, find new pastures, the world is out there.
Back in the 60s, we had the inspiration of Marshall McLuhan and his idea of the global village. That was what we were aiming for. We could see it coming, but now we live in it.
Our time is a time for crossing barriers, for erasing old categories, for probing around.
Hermann Hesse wrote about a future society in which people would play a crystal bead game, in which all of the different media, all the different arts and sciences would come together. And we're starting to see those kinds of tapestries being woven on the web.
The other side of it is, of course, globalization.
The small group, largely of men, who are controlling the vast majority of the world's resources, are holding on as much as they possibly can do.
So I think the case is not to complain, but more to try and intervene by communications, by showing people other ways of living their lives and doing things that are more fun, that are more positive from everyone's point of view, rather than just saying this is absolutely awful, you must change. These people say to me, look at this. This is a really interesting way of doing something. Would you like to try it? I'll show you how it all works. Then that's a totally other way of delivering actually the same message, which is, why don't you change your behaviour and try doing it like this for a bit?
You have to ask yourself the question, why are all these wars happening? Why is there BSE? Why is there genetically modified food?
You have to act in whatever way you conceive, like whether it's by making a video, or whether it's by taking direct action on the streets. If you have a point of view that someone else is doing something that may be dangerous to you, it's your responsibility in a modern society to get that point of view heard.
society. Based to a true, secure brotherhood and sisterhood, cooperative Eden farming and culture. Happy! Happy tribal homes. Working and sharing to create heaven on earth with full help from our government. To have their tear-stained faces kissed with generosity, surrounding them with the grace of flower-decked rainbows instead of hell's droning bombers. Butterflies to dazzle their learning eyes. This is not idealistic. This is common sense. Reunite the stones of our ancestors. Solar solstice. We come together. Reunite the stones of our ancestors. Solar solstice. We come together. Reunite the stones of our ancestors. Celebrate the summer. We come together. Reunite the stones of our ancestors. Solar solstice. We come together. Reunite the stones of our ancestors.
This piece is about 10 years old. It's called Theologue, the union of human and divine consciousness, weaving the fabric of space and time in which the self and its surroundings are embedded. That's the subtitle of it, rather long. And what I try to do in the work is to show the interpenetration between the physical dimensions and the more metaphysical dimensions. And in the bodies, it shows up as the acupuncture meridians and points and chakras and auras and halos and things like that. This particular painting is one of my favorites because it came from an experience that I had some time ago. It was a high-dose LSD experience, and I was wearing a blindfold and seated in a lotus posture. And I was staring into this, it was a device I invented called the Mindfold. It's just like a light-type blindfold with space to open your eyes. So you look into total darkness. But I was, somehow I was seeing an electric grid that was like all along the horizon. It was just this incredible kind of perspective grid. And it seemed that I was projecting this at the same time that I was like seeing it outside, but I was in my head, so it was very confusing, but I felt like, well, this is the loop of space and time. This is like, when you dream, you're dreaming in space. And so you're always creating space. Somehow our mind is creating the space that we're surrounded by. So how to visualize that, it was solved by putting this kind of seated Buddha here and having the horizon line, the vanishing point of the horizon line of perspective, be synonymous with the cone of perception that's spreading out. So this is how this thing, he is appearing to project the space that he's seated